Hey guys, one of the reasons I do this free podcast is hoping you will come see me do live stand-up comedy. I got some dates for you. August 3rd, I'm at the Wiltern Theater in Los Angeles with the one and only Adam Carolla. Come see me August 3rd at the Wiltern Theater with Adam Carolla in Los Angeles. August 16th, I go all the way up to Wisconsin. I'm going to be with all my friends in Milwaukee. August 16th, come see me at the Pabst Theater in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. August 16th, Pabst Theater, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Very next night, August 17th, Detroit, Birmingham, Bloomfield. Where are you at? August 17th, I'm at the Royal Oak Theater in Detroit. August 17th, I'm at the Royal Oak Theater in Detroit. And then, my friends, oh yeah, September 19th, Stand Up Live in Phoenix, Arizona. Phoenix, Arizona, September 19th, I'm at Stand Up Live. Go to jmohr.com if you wish to buy tickets. Please come see me. All my shows are meet and greet. Buy a t-shirt. Shake my hand. Let's do it. Let's just have fun with our lives and have a little laughs. Hope to see you guys out there. I love you.
Put your name on it. Just put your name on it. That's all I say. Be a man or a woman. Put your name on it.
Well, I'd like to hear about it, potheads.
How the fuck you gonna know how to be great if you don't study greatness? Look at the game change.
Donuts.
If you want to battle, it's either that you will or you won't.
You know, you're not a bad-looking man, Mr. Gals.
But you are, Blanche. You are in that chair.
There's something wrong with us. Something very, very wrong with us.
How great would it be if I had a totally different voice? Like, we've been talking, an hour, 40 minutes, and I'm like, Stone Cold Steve Austin joining us on the program. I just break up my little Mean Gene Okerlund mustache. So you have the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast on the Podcast One network, is that correct?
Podcast1.com, the Steve Austin Show.
All right, Steve Austin Show. And I've been in there on Tom Green's show, and there's other people on that roster. I don't know if they're still there, so I don't want to say their names. But that's like a fancy setup, bro. There's like crazy ass. You don't strike me a guy from Victoria, Texas. That looks a little above your tech grade.
It is. It's way above my tech grade. But you gotta appreciate the fact that most of my guests are calling in from all over the United States. It's not like I got, you're pretty much set up, established here. You got cats dropping by all the time, and that's a luxury. So it is what it is. But there's nothing better than talking to a human being live and in living color.
Yeah. It's hard, though, with wrestlers, and I know just from, like, friends of mine that wrestle, the travel you guys do, even retired, it's the crazy. Vince just runs you guys until your fucking wheels fall off.
Man, but you got to. Once you get in the system, you can't get out of the system because you can't take a break. The only way you want to come off the road, where you don't want to come off the road, is if you get hurt because, all of a sudden you go say, hey, Vince, I'm getting tired. I need a month off. Man, somebody just took your spot. You just took yourself out of a key storyline. You just took money off the table. So you don't take off. You want to be on the road, and it becomes an addiction. You love living on the road.
It sounds like you're talking about a crack addiction. You can't get out until you get hurt, man.
But it's like anything.
That's your bottom, man.
But it's just like you getting on the road with the stand-up.
Yeah.
I mean, you love being in front of that crowd. You love making the money. You love turning those people on. It's the same damn thing. There's a very close parallel between these two businesses, and you got to stay in the picture.
And the WWE is weird to me in a way that it seemed like when I grew up at WWF, like Jimmy Snuka and Don Morocco, like the battle for the Intercontinental belt was always way more interesting than the championship belt. It was fucking Bob Backlund doing squat thrust, trying to set like the world record deep knee bend contest. The Guinness Book people are counting his squat thrusts. And meanwhile, you got like, is Don Morocco going to use the Asiatic spike? That's a forbidden move, man. And you and your friends looking at Pro Wrestling Illustrated like, I don't even know what it is. Like, no one knows. It's forbidden, bro. Like Greg the Hammer Valentine pile drove Jimmy Snuka on the cement floor. But like with the WWE, it's like I would watch it a lot more if there was just more wrestling because I do really like watching wrestling. But, man, cats get in the ring. I was just watching with Mark Henry, buddy of mine, was doing his like retirement. And he came in. But John Cena was in the ring for like 8 minutes. And I looked at Matty Boy and I go, man, I know TV a little bit. I don't think you can get more than 14 minutes out of a segment. Like, this shit's going to have to wrap up quick. And then just fucking pile drove Cena.
I know exactly what you're talking about because I happened to be watching that episode and I got all the stuff DVR'd, but I'm backed up on it. But that night, it was funny because I had just changed the channel, caught it. There was John Cena on the corner, window dressing. I mean, he was there for the taking. And so, man, I smelled a rat as soon as he started talking about it. I'm going to retire. And, but to Mark's credit, I mean, he really got some mileage out of that because he pulled from real emotions. I think he really thought about, having to retire and the way those people really fired in and were supporting him. And they appreciated all the hard work that guy's turned in. So he got a little emotional, which he baited everybody in further. But I smelled a rat. I'm the veteran. I knew something was on the up. And sure enough, wham! You don't have your number one guy in the company just sitting there lollygagging around because he wants a front row view of Mark Henry about to retire. I knew there was an angle going down.
But they don't tell you ahead of time that that's going down?
Well, man, I'm a civilian now, man. I mean, I'm technically still with the company, but, I'm at the house. I'm in Marina Del Rey watching. It's not like I get a call on the bat phone and say, Steve, Vince, we're going to do an angle tonight. Mark Henry's going to look like he's going to retire, but he's going to beat the shit out of John Cena. So, no, I'm not involved on that end, man. Those guys are laying down a show, and I'm just watching as a fan or a Mark at the house.
Mark texted me. Mark ran me.
Well, let me ask you a question. How are you and Mark tight? Where do you guys go back from?
On my radio show on J Mohr Sports on Fox Sports Radio, you go to jmohrsports.com. You can pick your affiliate wherever you live, listen to this podcast. We call the update anchor, Dan Beyer. I just started calling him the world's strongest man, and I got Intercontinental belt for the studio. Like, he's the Intercontinental champion. He's the world's strongest man. And one day Mark Henry, just rolling around Texas, goes, who's this world's strongest man? I'm the world's strongest man. And he know it's just like, it's my update guy. He's like 5'11", like 240, just a regular dude. And so we put him on. And then I told the update anchor, I go, bro, this is a huge get because I'm a wrestling nut. So if we get this cat on the phone, you better run some shit at him.
Yeah.
And so Mark Henry goes, who set the world record for squat, bench pressing in 1989? Hold on a minute now. And Dan Beyer goes, did you say 1989? He goes, yes, sir. And he goes, I guess we're all living in the past. I agree with you, Jay. You know what? I could go for something to eat. And so they just went at it. And then I texted Mark afterwards, like, that was great. Come on anytime. And then I called him. I wanted some swag for my son and my son's stepbrother. And they just sent like this giant ass package, and he's just good people. And then he texted me 2 weeks out, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he's like, "Man, I'm retiring, dog. You got to watch it, man. It's gonna be heartfelt. It's hard to put this, but before he even told me he was retiring, he would say like a month out, like, man, I'm just trying to rehab these knees, man. Just like I can't even walk. Tired of waking up tired. So he put the game on me."
Yeah.
Just in passing. I can't even imagine when he told Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, but you know what? He took you for a ride. A little bit of hoodwink in there. Yeah, and you being a true fan. Hey, but let me ask you a question. You grew up in Jersey, correct? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you got to be hardcore. I still say WWF. We all know what it is. They call it E. But so you grew up hardcore WWF fan. Did you get into the NWA or the AWA at all?
I did because I would always get Pro Wrestling Illustrated. There was one newsstand in Caldwell, New Jersey. I would ride my bike to go pick it up, and I'm like, who's this Boogie Woogie man?
Yeah.
And like, who's Barry Windham? Who are the Von Erichs?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like, wrestler number 2.
Yeah.
Parts unknown. Whoa.
Yeah.
Parts unknown. All of a sudden, shit got...
Why are they sending his check?
Yeah. That's a good point. But Mark Henry's retirement, he did start crying. He sold it good. Now, do you think he was crying, or do you think diabetes was just making his eyes run?
I know nothing of the man's health. I think those are real. I've been called a lot of things. A doctor is not one of them.
That was said like you were on the steps of the Capitol in Houston running for office. I'll tell you, that was like that down folksy charm you had.
Oh, shit.
Used to work at a loading dock, Stone Cold Steve Austin. You put in the hard work. You did an honest work for an honest day's pay.
Hey, man, absolutely. I always tell everybody, I was, when I was born and
you were born
down in South Texas, I just grew up being able to lift really heavy shit. I'm good at manual labor. That's what I was born to do. And I got lucky, after I got tired of working on the docks. Well, I didn't get tired of it. I just had a commercial come on TV, and I'd always watched pro wrestling my entire life since I was about 7 or 8 years old. So when I saw that commercial, I said, well, hell, there's my end, that wrestling school right there. So, I started training while I was still loading, the trucks, driving a forklift, lifting the heavy stuff. 5 months worth of training went by. Then I had my first match, and, then I was still going. I was working at Watkins Motor Lines in Dallas, Texas. I was living 30 miles away in Denton, and I'd go to work every day. Fridays, I was a young baby face back in, long blonde hair, pretty good-looking kid, and all the heels would come into the territory and beat the dog shit out of me with weightlifting belts and kendo sticks, to get some heat. And Saturday mornings was a TV taping. They'd do the same thing. They'd beat the shit out of Steve Austin. And then, after 2 months of that, I finally asked the promoter, Jerry Jarrett, I said, hey, man, when can I start working full-time? He goes, hell, Steve, I think you're ready now. And that's when I hauled my dumb ass over to Tennessee and started working full-time.
Denton, Texas, I believe, home of Texas Women's College, where my grandmother graduated.
You are correct. Also, North Texas State, but more importantly than that, home of the Von Erichs.
Yeah.
God,
all
man.
of them. The claw.
People do not understand, and you brought the Von Erichs a while ago where we were talking, but you got to understand, back in the day, the Von Erichs were gods. They were over like hair, crazy.
My 2-year-old son, Meredith, has hair just like a Von Erich. It's got the flowing locks.
Great.
It's great. But I remember they had the claw. That was the finishing move. They'd claw, and they would just crush your skull. But then every once in a while, they would do the claw in the stomach. And I remember as a kid, I was a little uncomfortable.
The
little homoerotic.
Claw, the abdominal claw didn't really work for me at too many levels.
Hey, if you keep fucking around, I'm going to grab your stomach real low, right at the waistline. You'll be sorry.
Yeah, but you know what? If somebody got I just ate a real bad pepperoni pizza.
What you guys do.
Yeah. And then I hit the guy hit that stomach claw.
Yeah,
and,
it's all over.
Yeah.
What's amazing about your story that you just told, Steve, is that's exactly how I got into comedy. I ran my mouth all the time, got kicked out of every class. Like you were good at running, lifting heavy shit, manual labor. I was good at just running my mouth. Running from bullies, talking shit over my shoulder, and then sitting at home was, hey, are you a teenage comic between the age of 13 and 17? We're having a comedy night over here, and it was noon on a Sunday, and I went, and I tried it, and I beat myself up with kendo sticks and weightlifting belts and sucked, and then you eventually become full-time. It's impressive. But go ahead.
No, I want to ask you then. So you're going to go do your first gig. You saw the tryout thing. This is a true story, right?
Yeah.
So did you have a routine, or you just went up there and just started running your mouth and ad-libbing?
No, I had a routine. They said have 3 to 5 minutes prepared, and it went by in like 2 minutes. It's really weird. I still remember the jokes. I was 15 years old. I got it so bad. Maddie's going to destroy me. I said, I went up in my my varsity jacket, like that'll give me a little street cred, like somehow varsity wrestling jacket with the 105 on the sleeve. People think I was funny. Like, that's cool, right? It must be funny. Look, you wrestle. And I go, I'm athletic. I'm captain of the miniature golf team. I'm out for the season. I got hit by a windmill. That was like my first joke. My mother is in show business. She's Chaka from Land of the Lost. And then I said, I went to bed, but I do it from the top of the dresser. Those are the 3 I remember. Now, I saw a tape of that performance. It was at Rascals Comedy Club in West Orange, New Jersey. It is like watching somebody speak Turkish. Like, I don't even know what I'm saying.
Right.
It's the weirdest shit in the world. And Buddy Hackey used to say to me, comics are the only people that use 0.1% of what they're going to become first time out. And somehow somebody said, hey, can you come back? Like, that's crazy. Right. And what Steve Austin just said, I think is highly relevant. Like, you went in and just got the shit kicked out of you for 5 months. And then finally, or you were in school for 5 months and they got shit beat out of you for 2 months. And then you were like, hey, can I stop getting the shit beat out of me? But they kept having you back.
Yeah, I mean, just trying to get the repetition. We're talking an hour before we started talking about on this show, about repetition, keeping your chops up, putting in the work is the way you put it.
Yeah,
you got to put in the work to be good, whether on the mic in front of a crowd or in the ring in a 20x20 trying to entertain some cats and tell a story.
You get to the point where you get to, I mean, you're like baller status when you're a pro wrestler. And you're in the Expendables with Sylvester Stallone. Like, that's kind of other level. That's bigger than Hulk Hogan and Rocky, like you're on the poster, bro.
Yeah, I made the poster. Man, that little chump-ass part in that movie. You know, it was fun because just working on that movie because I remember when Rocky came out, man. I mean, who's not a guy's guy? Who's not a Sylvester Stallone fan? Hey. You know, yeah, man.
He should have died. People don't realize how many times he's almost died. Was it on Expendables? Is the water around his heart burst because Dolph Lundgren punched him? Do you know about this?
Yeah, I heard about something about that.
Something like Dolph Lundgren had. Do you know about this, Matty Mike?
No,
At the real Hey Matty.
I do not.
He got punched in the chest by Dolph Lundgren, and apparently there's a sack of water that protects your heart around your heart, and it just smashed that water out. And he just
He broke his water.
He broke his water.
No, but serious deal,
He gave birth to Jet Li.
Yeah, but you know, it was fun because you know back in the day, you know when Rocky was drinking raw eggs and training every day. Man, I saw that movie in Edna, Texas. I walked to the theater. I walked back home. The next morning, I was drinking raw eggs, running down the road like a sumbitch. I was going to be the next heavyweight champion of the world. Little did I know it'd be wrestling, not boxing.
Are you a good boxer? Can you box?
No, I can't box worth nothing. My left hand wouldn't bust a grape. Every now and then I go take some boxing or whatever to get in tune for a movie. But you got to be disciplined, or you've got to have the repetition to be a good boxer. You know this.
Expendables. Let me throw some names out at you. A brawl breaks out on the set of The Expendables. Sylvester Stallone, Jet Li, Jason Statham, Dolph Lundgren, Randy Couture. Who's last man standing? And I'll put you in there too, Stone Cold. But you said you left.
Well, I mean, if
I'll just avoid your left.
If I can use the Iron Claw as a finish, it's going to be me. If it is barred, the last man standing would be Randy Couture. That's one bad dude.
Yeah?
Oh, straight up, man.
More than Jet Li?
Come on.
No, I know. I say that because there's T-shirts like at academies, like at MMA academies. Was it Boss Rutan? They used to have T-shirts. Your kung fu is no good here.
Boss Rutan's a bad dude.
Yeah, like kung fu guys, when they go into MMA, like you can go on YouTube, like kung fu versus, whatever.
Yeah.
And the kung fu guys get the shit beaten out of them.
Yeah,
Jet Li's a little dude, right?
Yeah, he's a little dude. Man, I'm going to go Randy Couture all day long. And, Boss Rutan, I mean, that's a bad cat right there.
And what about Dolph Lundgren? This guy speaks 8 languages. Does he ever fuck up and just start talking in Israeli?
Man, he was in one of my movies. And he was a straight-up cat kind of. He was an interesting dude.
Yeah, he's like a genius. He's like one of the Klitschko's. He's like he could be a professor if he wants, right?
Yeah, almost every time I would talk to him, I would need like a calculator to keep up. It was
really?
No, he's just a smart dude.
Who makes the call? Who calls Stone Cold Steve Austin to be in this great big movie?
Sly gave me my people got in touch with their people or their whatever, vice versa. I go down to Sly's office. I never met the guy in my life. Man, I walked in, there he was, and he was shredded. And, he's like 3 or 4% body fat, and his veins are sticking out on his forearms and stuff. I said, dude, nice to meet you. Yeah, I'm a big fan. And I said, man, what are you, about 3 or 4%? And he knows I'm talking body fat. Yeah. He's a bodybuilder. And he goes, yeah, about 4. And dude, man, we hit it off right after that. Went in and shot the shit for about 30 minutes. And, he told me about the part. And I had to read for it, do all that stuff. And, man, I was in like Flynn. I ain't never got a part I read for out here in this damn. Well, I don't read for parts. I am what I am. I like to do my damn movies on my dime.
Yeah.
Do my thing.
But you've been in a lot.
I ain't got time it ain't like I got time. Man, at doing what I did in the other business, I ain't going to sit in a line and audition. Either you got something for me or you don't.
You got enough cheddar put away.
I ain't going to be Laurence Olivier.
Right. But you got enough cheddar put away where you get that luxury.
Dude, I'm cheap, man. I'm cheap. I'm driving 96 Suburban out there, dude. I don't spend money. Look at the way I'm dressed. I look like a bum. Hey, what is this top-notch camo? But I've had this shit for 5 years.
Well, if that's how you know it's top-notch, it lasts that long.
Damn right.
Biggest deer you ever shot?
181 class 10 point. What do you know about deer? You hunter?
I have hunt. I shot a deer in Del Rio, Texas, at a Dave Roser's van out of the passenger seat of his van, a .243 rifle with a scope. And everyone was liquored up, just cans of Bud.
Oh, Jesus.
And they go, hey, so-and-so's on vacation. He said we could use his property and just go, pick out the deer feeders. I'm like, all right, cool. You just get a bunch of guys, like 6 beers apiece, and just my grandfather's in the car. Dave Roser was the guy up the street. And they go, you're down? I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah. Like, I definitely want to do this before I, you don't hunt in Jersey. I mean, you do.
Yeah.
But where I grew up was just by Giant Stadium. It's just Little League Baseball. You can't really shoot the coaches. And man, I looked through the scope, and they told me, like, you either want to hit them right in the middle of the chest, or if it's sideways, right where the neck meets the shoulder, you want to just blow them up. And I go, all right. And they go, all right, there you go, JJ. And there's a whole bunch of deer, and I'm looking through the scope. It's like 100 yards, man. I'm like, all right, I got this, dude, man. And, man, for some reason, this shot was perfect. And he just went down like a sack of rocks.
Yeah.
Now, this deer in the scope was a large fella.
Okay, you walked up on it, and what happened?
Dave Roger goes, man, you shot Bambi's little sister. But we ate that son of a bitch. Jerky is so good. Deer jerky is awesome. But these cats knew Del Rio, Texas, right on the river. Like, you're looking at Mexico outside, your kitchen window. Like, they just stripped that fucking thing like how like guys that know how to like clean a fish on the dock real quick.
Right.
This thing was skinned, gone, steaks, flank. Shit was in the freezer by the time I got done wiping my ass and coming back outside.
Right.
And they put all this crazy pepper on the jerky. It was good, man. I like some deer.
Dude, they didn't make you do any kind of stupid shit like, okay, you got to take the heart from the blood. You got to take the blood from the heart and wipe it on your face. They didn't tell you that shit.
No, they didn't do any of
Hey,
that.
get these greenhorns out there. It's the old hunter's rib. Like it's supposed to be some. Dude, don't fall for that shit.
Sniff his ass. It's
blood
good luck.
on your face. But what'd you think? When was this?
I would say 90. I was doing the Jeff Foxworthy show. I had really crazy long hair. So I probably 93.
But it's back in the day. I mean, because you ain't been back to Del Rio since, have you?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
I mean, my grandfather passed away, but I went back. I was there twice a year.
Oh, so that was his place.
Well, used to stay. He had a motorhome and like a little boathouse,
Yeah.
and he would just park on his property, and you would just sleep on. He would let you sleep in the bed. He'd sleep on the couch. He was like my best friend.
Man, we used to hunt right outside of Del Rio in Comstock, and we were on a place about 10,000 acres. We leased it, and I was out there, had an '88 Ford F-150 and a piece of shit camper.
That's what my grandfather had.
Oh yeah,
I swear to God.
Yeah.
Had well over 100,000 miles on it and a boat on the roof. And we got pulled over in Mexico. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
We got pulled over in Mexico by 15-year-old Mexican police. They were on little mopeds blowing whistles. And I had an 8-month-old Rottweiler named Shirley. You know when there's a dog that's the Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
This thing was a Hall of Famer. I'd walk her through Manhattan, no leash. I'd go in a restaurant, say, wait here. That dog would just have a lean to it, you know?
right.
And they're going like, 20. I don't know how the fuck you say 20 in Spanish, but they wanted $20 each, and then we get to go. And then
American.
and then I go, I hold up my hands, and I go 10, and that enraged them. And they go 20 and pero for the dog.
Oh.
Now this is, man, I love my dog, man.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, for the first, I'm not. He'll tell you. I don't want to embellish on this podcast. If I tell you something, it's the real deal. The motto is put your name on it.
Right.
I am now, and they're poking my grandfather. He just had his asshole sewn shut. He had colon cancer, beat it, sewn up. He's got a bag on him. And this is my hero.
Yeah.
And they're poking him. They're yelling at him like, get out of the fucking car, get out of the fucking car, Spanish. And I'm looking at their service revolvers for 38s, and there's no safety on it. I mean, there's no strap.
Right.
And I'm actually
Thinking about it.
rationally thinking, like, they ain't getting my fucking dog.
Right.
And I can see the border. And I'm like, if you just pull this guy's gun, shoot him in the gut, and just hit the gas, can you drive through the border and get arrested there? Will they send me back?
Right.
And as I'm thinking it, my grandfather goes, just take the fucking money and get away from me. And they said they pulled us over for speeding. Now I ask you, an 82-year-old man with a colostomy bag driving an F-150 Lariat with a boat on top, you think you was speeding? Approaching the border, just let the lead out. Just pull up, let him blast an AC/DC, the old man. But that happened, so sorry. But you said F-150 Lariat, and all of a sudden I went, holy shit. Like, I still know what the inside of that car smells like.
I don't even remember my story now.
Oh, fuck. I didn't want that to happen. I was gonna
I was camping.
Matty Boy knows.
Yeah, you were just going to say you used to hunt near Del Rio. You had the
Comstock.
Yeah, the story had no point to it. Basically, the story was, I was just out there waiting for my dad to get there, and I had a piece of shit camper that was about twice the size of this table. And it didn't have no running water, no electricity, no bathroom. It was just a shell, basically. And I'm serious, man.
They called it a camper.
Yeah, called it a camper. Well, I mean, it's like a 1950 model. I paid $200
aluminum
for it.
triangle.
Yeah. So, but that was a place just keep. Dude, I used to light, those little sterno candles
Yeah.
you heat dishes up with? I used to light a bunch of those before I go to sleep. That's how I heated the sumbitch up. And you wake up about 3 hours later, all the candles are burned down. You freeze like a sumbitch, and then light all the fresh ones back up. But anyway, so I'm out there getting blasted. I'm drinking whiskey. I got a campfire. I got Shania Twain just came out with that album. And I was blaring
Don't
that
impress me much.
That's the album they
I'm
had.
in your head, dude.
And so I'm jamming like a sumbitch. Ain't nobody out there. My dad's going to get there the next day, and I hear some whistling in the background. I'm thinking, man, I know I'm pretty fucked up, but, I'm hearing some shit, and I don't hear very good anyway. So I turn my shit down in the truck, go back to the campfire, and man, it was two wetbacks that were crossing through. And they had an old jug of water. Dude, we're in the middle of nowhere. We're in the middle of nowhere. And I'm like, man, this shit ain't cool.
Scares the shit out of you.
I go, yeah, man, you just come up on a cat, when he's just chilling, getting jacked up on whiskey, man. You got to be careful. So I'm thinking,
in a shell.
There got to be more of these sumbitches because you never know what's going to happen.
They wouldn't be whistling if it was just two.
Yeah, they wanted some water. So, man, when I seen them over there, they was kind of, right out of a little bit from here to the damn car of yours in the driveway. As I'm talking, folks, about 25, 30 feet. And so, man, I turned my shit down in my truck and put my pistol there in my waistband. So I let them know, shit, if some shit's going to go down, there's going to be some bad shit happening to you. I'm packing. But anyway, so I give the cats a fresh gallon of water, and one got a can of raviolis, and the other got a can of tamales. Them tamales with little wrappers on them anyway. But I woke up the next morning, I give them a shit, they walked away. I opened the cans for them. It's the neighborly thing to do. And the next morning I came to, I don't think I woke up. I came to, and the two cans was there, the old jug of water, and they'd taken my fresh one, and hopefully they found some work, but that was back in the day. And
Wait, what do you mean, like they returned it?
No, they just left that they were carrying an old plastic gallon jug, and they just left that old one there and carried that fresh one.
That was very nice of you, man.
Hey, well, I mean, that's help a brother out.
My grandfather used to complain. He used to not complain, but then it got real bad in Del Rio. They'd come across the river, and we'd come home, and you could tell people had been in the house. And I, 23 and just want to just throw punches, even if you get knocked out. You're just stupid. You're like, it's fucking bullshit. Yeah. He said, you can't argue with hunger. These people are hungry. They ain't coming over here for shits and giggles. They're hungry. They're hungry. And they see, and you would see across the river, they just would look all up and down the river. They knew when you left. They knew when you came back. And my grandfather goes, but let me tell you something. They come in here and start pissing on the mattresses. I'm going to shoot a son of a bitch in his head. My grandfather told me he'd shoot you. But then a guy in Del Rio, Texas, he was a cop, a Del Rio cop. People were in his house when he was sleeping. His wife had a baby like 4 days ago, just got home from the hospital, so they didn't think they were home because they parked in a different spot. And there's 3 guys in his house. He takes out his service revolver, and he shoots one guy through the back of his head, out his eye, as he's running out of the house. That fucking guy got 12 years in jail because he shot him in the back.
Well, you can't shoot a guy in the back, man.
Your wife is in the bed with a baby, and people are running around in your house
I know,
in the heat of the moment.
In the back, because the guy was going from you, he wasn't a threat because he wasn't coming to you.
How about
unless that somebody are trying to whip your ass backwards? That was his only defense.
Spinning back kick.
Spinning back
Jet
kick.
Li. Jet Li's lucky he didn't get shot in the back by now.
I put Randy Couture over Jet Li. But anyway, go back to let's finish this little thing up, though.
Yeah.
Man, when you got a place down there, if you either put some water on the front porch, a couple canned goods, a couple pairs of flip-flops or tennis shoes, don't lock your shit up, because if you ain't out there, they will get in.
And it is. Look, there's a horrible immigration problem in this country, but they ain't coming over to be dicks, and they do come over and they work their balls off and do shit we don't want to do. Do I think it's good? No, but they're coming like because my grandfather was my hero. He was the end all be all. Yeah. They're hungry. And if you were starving and look, you've driven through El Paso many times on the 10 freeway.
All the time.
I know it. Now here's the thing. You look to your right if you're driving east, and you just see a shanty town. You look to your left, it's a billboard of a steak restaurant and a titty bar. So they're just sitting there looking, and it's literally the length of this garage, the freeway, and they're sitting in a fucking cardboard shack looking at a steak and shrimp dinner and just a girl with her fucking titties out, and they're like, that's America. Steaks and titties.
Yeah.
So who wouldn't come over?
It's motivation for sure. And when's the last time? I just drove through El Paso literally 10 days ago. I just came
dig
back.
that drive, man.
But El Paso, the drivers there are the worst drivers in the United States of America. And I just came down to PCH to get to your crib here. And there's some shitty drivers in Los Angeles, but El Paso takes the cake. Watch out for a lady driving a gold Toyota Camry because she's either putting her eyebrows or eyelashes or lips on. Watch her. She will put you in a ditch.
I will. I never had a problem driving through El Paso at all. And that's windy right when you go. You know what I like about that drive the most, Stone Cold Steve Austin?
What?
Right when you go past the University of Texas El Paso football stadium. Football stadiums, they just make me happy, bro. That UTEP, you're like, whoa, it's just right there. And then you keep going on the 10 West, and then you pass through Tucson, you're like, oh shit, Desert Storm, Teddy Bruschi, like this is what's up.
Right.
Like you get a couple real nice stadiums you get to drive by. I don't mind that drive at all, but I think Pennsylvania has really bad drivers.
Pennsylvania, well, you got a lot of deer over there. Deer jumping through the roads. You got to dodge them. Well, you ain't supposed to dodge anything, but I don't know. It's been so long since I drove through Pennsylvania. I remember up in that neck of the woods, Jersey, the areas you're from, they got too many of those toll booths. If there's one thing I can't stand, it's pulling over to chuck a couple quarters in the toll booth bucket, and then you miss the son of a bitch, and of course, that was the last quarter you had,
Yeah.
So you got to go scampering all over the car. Heaven forbid you got to actually stop, back up, get out, go fetch that quarter. You got people behind you about to kill you. It's rough.
Well, that's an amateur move. If you're paying the tolls, you're definitely from out of town. That's why they created the Easy Pass. Everyone's got the Easy Pass, and then they got the one lane without Easy Pass.
But you know what? That's the thing. Easy Pass. That was when you had some money to get that Easy Pass.
That's true.
You know?
What if the Mexicans coming across the border had Easy Pass?
Oh, dude, you got a bad idea there.
I was in a boat fishing. I never caught dick. In Del Rio. And you don't know how you do because you live down there a lot. But people don't realize, like, they're like, we got to fucking, punch up the Border Patrol. Like, these cats are on it 24/7, and they're everywhere. They're at the gas, because Del Rio is just gas stations. Just that's all it is. People filling up, moving on. I'm fishing with that Rottweiler and just drifting. I'm trawling out the back of the boat. Just got a Mepps Black Fury #3. Just seeing, I don't know what the fuck fish are in here.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I look to my right. I'm going southeast. I look to my right, the American side. There's 2 Border Patrol agents. One guy's kneeling down. It's like waist-high heather or grass. And the other guy's got binoculars on me, but they're only like 40 yards away. And I wave. They don't wave back. And that's weird, right? I go down. I'm still drifting down the river. I get about 100 yards. Same 2 fucking guys. The guy that was on his knee is still on his knee. Now he's got his rifle. And the other guy's got his binocular. Like, they thought I was like a coyote and a bunch of dudes in the bottom of the boat. And I got a Rottweiler up on the top of the boat barking at the agents, and I'm kicking the dog in the ass going, shut up. What's the matter with you?
Not now.
Not now is right. And I go, I'm going to bring my boat back to my house right here. And I said, Ferguson, right here. We're going to Ferguson. And they just stone cold stone faced me. And then I was like, I'm fucking out of here. And then I just took I remember I was so freaked out. I didn't even do the U-turn and pull the boat up against the moorings. I just fucking ran it up the boat ramp onto the concrete and just pulled the outboard up as fast as I could so I wouldn't ruin the engine. And then I just got the rope and I tied it. And I just went in the house and laid down.
God, that's unnerving, dude. You can
unnerving.
talk about it, but until you live it, that's unnerving.
Yeah, but it's
I know, but still, they don't know what's
I'm saying
up.
It's more unnerving because it's your guys.
But here's the thing, just like you said, and this gets me all the time at the border: the stone face. You know, when you're driving down 10 and you're right over the other side of El Paso and you come to that little town of Sierra Blanco.
Yeah.
It's that border check station. Those people treat me like gold. I've been going through there for years.
So you should be smuggling Mexicans because they never think,
But check it out.
Okay.
This time I went down, I was in my 96 black Suburban that I just traded for. Windows all smoked out, got big wheels on it, kind of, it's like an old custom Suburban that someone would carry drugs in.
Well, of course.
So I'm thinking, man, the guy I got this thing from, I don't do drugs, so I ain't got shit. But, I'm wondering, since I'm driving up this thing, they're going to want to pull me over and, that traffic's backed up. My dog, my chocolate lab Hershey's in there, and here comes that German Shepherd down there with the guy walking, smelling all the wheels of the cars. And I'm thinking, man, I know this some bitch I bought this thing from wasn't running drugs, but there's that 1% of your brain. I was listening to one of your stories about the 99% and the 1%. The 1% of mine is like, maybe this some bitch was running drugs. If I get pulled over with a kilo of some shit in this Suburban, I'm going to be a mad some bitch. But they give you that stone face because they're trained to. They got to make you feel uneasy whether you got something or not.
Every time. You ever see the video? There's two videos I got to talk to you about. One is very important. The video of the guy at the checkpoint that wouldn't answer any of their questions because he realized it was his constitutional right. I don't have to fucking tell you where I'm going. Because there's one past El Paso. I think it's further out towards California, but it's still in Texas. But it's a good 18 miles from the border on the 10. Mm-hmm. And that cat pulled through it, and it's like you said, going back and forth every day. And one day he filmed it on his iPhone, and they're like, are you a U.S. citizen? He goes, I don't have to answer that. And they're like, you know, these guys, like you stone-faced guys, that's not wrong answer. Yeah. Like, why don't you pull over right here? And he goes, nah, it's okay. But they have no right. This guy's an American citizen. He's not breaking any laws. He pulled up to the check stop. I got to go home. And they just kept going, are you an American citizen? You never heard about this story?
No.
It's pretty cool. And he goes, you have no right to stop me. And they go, are you an American citizen? He goes, if I am, that's none of your business. And they go, where are you going? He goes, I choose not to tell you. I don't have to tell you anything. I'm in the United States, aren't I? I'll tell you this. He goes, I'll tell you this. I am a United States citizen, and I'm in the United States, so I don't even know why I'm being stopped. You can't stop people like this. And he's like giving examples of like Germany, like Nazi Germany and shit. And you're like, this guy's going to get beat. And he goes, we're going to get our supervisor. And he goes, okay. And the supervisor comes out and goes, what are you doing? It's all on camera. And the supervisor's got the mirrored sunglasses, and he goes, just driving. He goes, where are you going? He goes, I don't really think that's any of your business. I'm an American citizen, and we're about 18 miles inside of America, so I don't know why I'm answering a damn question. And the guy goes, all right, when you get out of here. And they let him go. And then they did it again the next day, third day, fourth day, they just waved him through.
Really?
Yeah. But that's not the video I got to ask you about.
Okay, which one?
Stone Cold E.T. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
A couple thousand times you've seen it?
Yeah.
That is one of my that's upper 1% of videos I've enjoyed. Was that guy? I don't think that guy was mocking you. I think the guy was a fan.
No, yeah, absolutely was a fan.
All right, because you gave me that. You gave me a Stone Cold look, and I'm like, uh-oh.
I didn't know which video you were talking about.
Boston Crab, I'm about to get put in.
No.
We'll be right back. Yeah. Don't forget to go to jmohr.com, click the Amazon banner, and buy something on the Amazon banner, and I will read your email. You can email me at jmohr.com, too, and you can buy something. You save some money, save some time. Instead of going to Amazon, go to jmohr.com, click the Amazon banner. And Stone Cold, you were asking me a lot about stand-up. August 3rd, I'll be with Adam Carolla at the Wiltern Theater. I don't know if this will be out by then, but check this out, Milwaukee. August 16th, I'm at the Pabst Theater. August 17th, Detroit. Where you at? I'm at the Royal Oak Theater. And then September 19th, talk about the 10 Freeway. Phoenix, baby. Stand Up Live. September 19th at Stand Up Live in Phoenix. Come see your man because Stone Cold said so. So 316, this ET guy, have you been in contact with this guy? We're going to put it up on More Stories Balls, our video content site. Just go to YouTube/More Stories Balls, one word. It's just, explain it to people.
Well, shit, man, there's a guy pulling through. That's so funny. You know,
because it's like, I'm like, explain it. You're like, it's a fucking guy in an ET mask doing a Stone Cold Steve Austin voice. What do you want me to explain?
Oh, yeah, you just explained it to the listeners who have not seen this phenomenon. It's a guy in a drive-through order thing, and he's in his car, and he's got this ET mask on, and he's talking like I do, in full Stone Cold mode, trying to order some burger and some fries.
Yeah, but he's at White.
It's funny as hell.
He's at White Castle.
White Castle, yeah.
And usually So you approve of this video? I don't want to.
No, it's fine with me. You know, but it started going out of control. I was like, man, it's funny, but shit, it ain't that damn funny.
No, it is.
It is. Well, see, like, here's the thing. If I'm sitting with a world-class comedian and you think it's that damn funny, it's that damn funny.
You know why it's that funny? Because right when you think it's going to lull, first of all, he starts moving his finger around in a circle like you do in the mask. Yeah. And then there's a guy at a drive-thru. There's a person in an ET mask going, can I get? And he's like, "Can I get a hell yeah?" And he's doing all the thing. I can't do the impression. And then like finally, they just tell him to drive forward. But to look at his gear shifter, he has to put his face. He's to lean forward and put his face straight down so he can see through the eye holes. So like right where I would have thought like, all right, that's funny enough. This motherfucker leans forward. Let me see if I get some audio of this briefly.
So sorry, can you repeat that again?
I said Stone Cold E.T. would like a couple cheeseburgers and maybe a drink
And maybe a drink. Can I get a hell yeah?
to go.
So sorry, can you repeat that again?
I said Stone Cold E.T. would like a couple cheeseburgers and maybe a drink, and I'd like to get out of here as soon as possible, and that's the bottom line.
Hey, do you want to pull up? I can't understand anything you're saying, please.
Okay, you want Stone Cold E.T. to pull up one side?
Just pull up to the first window.
Okay.
That fucking head going down makes me so happy. It's got 2 million hits. It's gone viral, bro. Here's WWE. Too much talking, not enough wrestling. We can agree on that, right?
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Just send them out. Just keep sending them out. We don't need the commissioner. Like Piper's Pit was cool because it was once a week and that was it.
Yeah, but Piper was a premier talker too.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, that guy was he was out there. I mean, he put in the work.
But it was a segment, is what I'm saying. In an hour show,
Indeed.
that was the segment. Now it's all talk. Now they go to commercial mid-match on like Monday Night Raw, and you're like, bro. I'm like, bro, you told me this was live. Here they come over the border. Here they come. They made it all the way out to the Palisades, bro. Like you're telling me it's Monday Night Live, but you're going to commercial in the middle of a match. And then when you come back from commercial, it's like, here's videotape of what you missed. I'm like, well, maybe a little less yapping. It ain't exactly like the pallbearers out there with The Undertaker. That shit was riveting.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems Vince McMahon built this crazy, amazing empire. But is it detrimental that one guy, I mean, he's it. No one, is there any checks and balances? I'm not asking you to throw anybody under the bus. No. We like to keep it positive, but if you want to shit talk somebody, fucking go ahead. But there's no checks and balances in WWE. If you rub Vince the wrong way, you know, you're just going up to fucking Cold Lake, Alberta and doing an Indian reservation.
Man, you know, pretty much you hit it right on the head. There's no checks and balances. It starts and stops with him. You know, and when he bought the promotion from his father back in the day, and then, he had designs on taking this thing, all over the United States. Because, back in the day, everybody stayed in their neck of the woods.
Well, you were saying AWA and
yeah,
yeah,
it was territories. Well, Vince, man,
Mid-Atlantic.
Vince, and man, all the great TV shows out back then, that's when wrestling was really, really riveting and good. And before all the exposés and all the stuff like that. But nonetheless, to go back to the point you were making, yeah, there's no checks and balances. It's all Vince. But I think Triple H has had a lot of positive influence in there. And, Vince is a smart guy. You and me, you're almost the same age as I am, but we're a little bit more hardcore. We're a little bit more old school. There's such ever since I've been gone 10, 12 years, there's a whole new generation of fans that have come in. So
you see, I had no idea you were out that long. To me, it's like
it
you're
seems
still
like
there.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
But so man, you got to look. He's still trying to. If you look back in the old days, going back, we call it the old days. Let's go back 20, 30 years. You'll see mainly adults and middle-aged people in the crowd. These days, it's all kids with their parents. So he's trying to entertain people from 55, 65, and then there are a couple of cats our age. And a lot of young cats, a whole lot of young cats. And I think he's trying to, it's a big ass circus and there's something for everybody.
Yeah.
Where back in the day, it was purely wrestling. And that's when I loved it. And that's what it sounded like when you loved it, when it was
Rob
purely
Van
wrestling.
Dam said the same thing. When he retired for a while. He just came back on that vault. I don't remember what the name of the event was, but he just came back. But he said, like, I want to wrestle. Like, this shit's crazy. And he's like a great athlete. He wants to just jump around and fly all over the place. He's got some chops, but you can't just put it to work. You're on an airplane your whole life. But the thing with Vince, have you ever had – I mean, you were a star, and you kind of you probably called your own shots, I'm guessing, to a degree, more than anybody else, more than Tony Geary ever did, more than Salvatore Bellomo ever got to. Did you ever get a storyline run by you where you were like, this is the fucking stupidest shit I'm not doing this?
Yeah, there was a couple like that. And, there was a couple guys that they wanted me to work with. And, if I didn't feel like working with those cats, if I didn't think it was going to be beneficial to me or the company, then I put the kibosh on it. But by and large, man, I was a businessman with those guys, and pretty much Vince is pretty much always on the money with
really
a large percentage of his decisions. He's a smart guy. He's in the business to make money. He didn't put everybody else out of business because he's a dummy. And certainly, there's a couple things I'm going to disagree with him on. But, that one time, I remember one time I was wrestling down in Columbus, Georgia. I was working with Ric Flair in a cage, and I got a call from Jim Ross, and they were dropping a creative on me, and they wanted me to, do the favors for Brock Lesnar in Atlanta. And man, I was running hard. And
what does that mean? Do the favors?
I was going to get beat.
Okay.
And
I don't like this already.
I didn't either back then. And so Jim Ross had called to give me the down low on what was going to happen. I said, well, really? I said, well, I don't have gut full, man. I'm running up down the road trying to sell these buildings out. We're kicking ass. And when you get a number one cat, you keep throwing the gas on him. You don't fiddle fuck with him. You keep, the hammer down. And I said, man, that ain't good business. I'll be happy to lay down on anybody if we're going to do the build up and we're going to get paid for this thing and do a big number. But we had not done this. It was just going to be a Monday Night Raw match out of the blue. And I said, well, if that's going to be the case, I won't be there. Well, I'm just telling you, what's happening, and you might want to call Vince. So sure enough, man, I get a couple of messages. I need to call Vince. So I called him. Vince gave me the same scenario, just like 2 a.m, and we got Raw the next day. And I said, so that's what we're doing? He goes, yep. And I said, okay. See, you're looking at me right now, and you can see the way I'm going, okay. That means okay. It ain't okay.
Okay.
But when I say okay to him, he just heard me say okay. My okay meant like, that's bullshit. My okay means I ain't going to be there. So that's when I took my ball and hauled ass back to Texas and said, hey, piss on it. I quit. And so, that was a case of.
Wait, so what happened? Brock Lesnar comes out, they're just waiting for you to come through the ropes?
Well, they got the TV, man, and, there I'm sitting on an airplane going back to San Antonio. My phone's blowing up like a sumbitch, and they're trying to get hold of me. And I said, sayonara, I'll catch you later. And it was just a real bad decision, but made. And
bad decision by you?
Oh, yeah. Well, bad decision on their part, business-wise, to want to beat me on short notice with no advertising.
And no build-up. That's the big
no
one,
build-up,
too.
man. Come on, man.
Yeah. Someone's got to be a heel. They got to talk some trash. Couple months.
Yeah. I mean, we're trying to make this kid. I mean, he had all the potential in the world. There's nothing personal against Brock. I love Brock, and I always did. But it just wasn't a good business decision. And if I'm out there working my ass off, as was everybody else, we're all making damn good money, selling out, and all of a sudden, dude, you want to pick me off like that?
What's the repercussions for going against Vince like that? Do you get fined? Do you get suspended?
Dude, no, I quit. I quit for I was gone for almost a year.
But don't you have a contract where he just holds it up and goes, you can't quit, dude?
Well, I could quit, but it wasn't like I was going to go anywhere. So I didn't do anything. I was gone for like 8 or 10 months. And
that was how nice was that, though, to just sit at home, watch TV, and just relax, scratch your balls?
I was miserable.
Oh, really?
Dude, are you kidding me?
No, I'm not.
I made a snap decision, and I walked away from, we were doing killer business. Every arena was 20,000. It was sold out. I don't care what day of the week was. They were all sold out. I was on top. So you're walking away from that paycheck. You ain't got nothing coming in the mailbox. They stop paying you. You still have bills. I'm watching the show. They do a smear campaign. Now they've got to just trash me and say, I took my ball and went home. And that was their whole spin.
Because you were afraid of Brock Lesnar.
Oh, no. They just said that I took my ball and went home after, everything was going good.
See, I'm already writing for WWE. Like, this is what we say. We say he was afraid. He chickened out.
But, yeah. So, man, it was bad. I was miserable, dude, watching all my buddies go up and down the road and keep doing Monday Night Raw. And I was leading the charge, and I took my shit and went home. I'll never forget, I went out to check the mail one day. I wasn't looking for a paycheck because they weren't coming. And there was a little card in the mail.
Chugg's magazine instead.
Yeah. I needed to go dump one in the sink. I needed to do something to get rid of the frustration.
Sure.
There was a little card in the mail, and it was from my buddy Jim Ross, announcer. And he goes, hey, just calling to see if everything's okay. If you ever need anything, give me a call. that was the damn reach out that I needed,
yeah.
that olive branch. And I said, son of a bitch, are you kidding me? I called him immediately. We talked for 2 hours on the phone. And he said, hey, man, is there any way I can put you guys back in touch with each other? You guys can patch this thing up? I said, yeah. I said, I'm willing to try. Anyway, we met in a high-rise hotel in Houston, talked it out. And, man, when we got there, it was weird. I got to that hotel room before Vince. They were doing Monday Night Raw. I drove in from San Antonio. And we was about, 25 stories up. And it's a big-ass, like, luxury condo. And
what town is this?
In Houston.
Okay.
And I'm
Love Houston, dude.
25 stories up. And I'm thinking, man, I started to look around. And, it's not like a hotel. It's just a big-ass, I don't know what it was, apartment. And I'm thinking, man, is this a hit or something?
Yeah, it's how Pesci went out in Goodfellas.
So here comes Vince. Vince comes in. He's got a key, and it's just the two of us. And about a 2,000 square foot, 25 stories up room. And I'm thinking, man, one of us motherfuckers is going flying through that plate glass window. I know it. Because if we couldn't bury the hatchet, something's going to go down.
Right.
And long story short, we shook hands, had a conversation, and had a come to Jesus meeting. Everything was cool. We patched things up and went down the road. But I swear to God, I thought somebody was going to, you can either take the stairs or you can take the window.
Yeah. It seems like Vince is like the Lorne Michaels of wrestling. Like he controls the whole show and you have no regrets. Like people want to paint Vince as like this uber villain that could ruin your life. And Lorne Michaels, people will talk shit about him. But my whole philosophy is he's the guy that picked me. He could have picked 1,000 comics. And for some reason that year he goes, I like the J. Moore boy. He entertains me. So I got, that was great. Right. I wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for Lorne. And you wouldn't,
But didn't you have a disagreement with that guy?
No, you can never see the guy. He's like Bruce Wayne. Lorne?
Yeah.
No, Lorne is like Sun Tzu, Art of War. Like if you try to even get a meeting with him, there's like 8. I'm not exaggerating. I don't want to exaggerate this at all. There's probably 6 secretaries, like layers of defense to get to his office, and one goes, just sit here, and she goes, all right, now go talk to Marcy, and then you go down and another secretary and you sit there. So like an hour goes by and you're just getting a little closer to the door, and then the closer you get to the door, you're just sitting there and there's a big board of all the sketches that are on the show right outside his door, but his door's closed, but no one's in there, so you don't even know why you're sitting. And then as you sit there, like, you got this list of demands. I had it written down on paper. If I'm going to stick around, this has to change. This can't get cut. This character has to come back. And then after about an hour and 10 minutes, you're like, I'm just happy to be here, bro. And he invited me into it. He opened the door. A girl said, you can go in now. But the door is closed. So now do I knock? Like it's the craziest Art of War shit in the world. I open the door. It opens in. But there's a carpet on the floor that the door doesn't clear. The door opens about shoulder width, not even, a little less than shoulder width, like half shoulder width, and it hits that weird carpet. Now, I've been in this office 30 times. It's my second season. That shit never happened. This motherfucker probably moved the carpet close to the door. Like every step just takes you out of your game. I got down on my knees, and I rolled the carpet like a cigar away from the door. I go walk into and he's behind his desk. He goes, come on in, JJ, come on in. And I'm on my hands and knees rolling the carpet up, and I got to estimate how far away from the door the half circle is that the door can swing. And then I close the door, and then I roll the carpet back out flat, and I smooth it. None of this is very masculine. Yeah. I'm a fucking French maid. I should just have a butt plug in and a ball gag, and I'm just smoothing it. I stand up. He's fucking standing up, leaning on a chair, looking right at, like he's a foot from me, like, hey, like a horror movie. And he goes, you wanted to see me? I'm like, nah, I was just passing through. I don't know. like all those demands, gone.
How old was he at this time?
23. Was a kid, man.
No, him.
How old is him? 50, in his 50s.
Okay.
So, but the guy had like Belushi, Bill Murray, Eddie Murphy. What the fuck? He didn't give a shit about me. Like, why did Good Morning Brooklyn get cut? Like, who cares? It's a machine that's going to roll on long after I've left. There's going to be a Will Ferrell. There's going to be someone else. There's going to be someone else. And there's moments in your career where you got to realize, I'm a spoke in the wheel. I'm getting a nice check. I'm in Manhattan and I'm on Saturday Night Live. That's the Playboy Mansion of Manhattan.
Yeah.
I mean, without like, chicks and skanks and shit, but as far as like shit that people think about, like it was cool.
But, dude, it's just like you said, man. I've said many times, you're a gear in the system. Someone's finally going to pull you out of that machinery, toss you in a little bin over there, and replace you with another gear. And a machine will keep moving, and that's the way it is. But what kind of power trip was Lauren on, man? Was he like, intimidating? Was he, but just because he had all the power, but unassuming?
It's very unassuming, and I don't know if it's a power trip. I don't know if he really ever.
The fact that he was the power, though, was the trip.
He's Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
There's no, there's a head writer, but it's just this, and he lives out in the Hamptons. He's out in Montauk, and he comes in a couple nights a week when they have the meeting with the host, and he sits behind his desk, and every once in a while, 2 times you'd give me like a little pep talk, and I was like, whoa, like I've made it. And then you're not in any sketches for 3 weeks, and you go,
give me an example of his pep talk.
All right, that meeting, and I had my list, and I told him I'm all set. He goes, well, you seem to have a list of some sort in your hands. Why don't you have a seat and let's just talk it over? And I sit in the couch, and it's one of those weird couches where your butt's way too low and you're like a kid. But he didn't sit down. He stayed standing up, and I'm just looking straight up at him. Like, it's this weird art of war shit, right? And I go, I named like 3 things. I go, these are sketches that I think I don't think they should have been cut. Like, they're really funny. I'm a comic, and I know it's funny for me. And he just interrupts me. I would say, I don't want to exaggerate, 60 seconds, not even, 30 seconds in, he goes, Jay, you're the future of the show moving forward. We all know that. Just hang in there, hang tight, keep writing. Okay? That's it. It's over. Lauren Michaels told me I'm the future of the show. Man, I flew home. My feet never touched the ground.
Right.
And I slept, as David Lee Roth said, when you sleep, just your heels and your elbows are touching the mattress. The rest of you just floating, like levitating a little bit. Man, I wasn't in shit for the next month, but I didn't care because he gave me. It's like when a general manager goes, no, he's our coach. You know that coach is fired.
Yeah, but that's the thing that Vince is famous for, man. Guys would go in there, man.
You're my guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a similar deal. Just tired of being on the road, tired of not getting pushed enough, tired of not being in the right angle with the right guy, tired of not making enough money, tired of everything.
Tired of being tired.
Tired of being tired. Going in there to see Vince, all of a sudden Vince spins that summit in a 180, dosey-dos back on a 420, another 360, and summit walks out of the damn room, just like you said, big-ass smile on your face, and then you realize 50 yards after you get out. Now, you don't realize as soon as you step out, but it's 50 yards later, it's like, shit, man, I'm right back where I started from. I didn't get anything accomplished while I was in there talking to him.
I'm late for my flight to the Saddle Dome.
Yeah, that dude can go in there.
I'm on at 3 p.m. in Calgary.
That dude is so suave and slick. He's third-generation promoter, And so he played him Jedi mind tricks with a cat. And it's interesting to hear the Lorne Michaels stuff for me.
What's your favorite town? Was there a town that you loved going to?
Chicago.
Yeah?
Dude.
That wouldn't have been on my list of 30 towns that I would have thought would have embraced the Stone Cold.
Rosemount Horizon, the greatest building to work in because of the acoustics and the rowdy crowd. The Chicago, the Rosemount Horizon, they've since renamed it. But
is it the United Center, like where the Bulls play?
Yeah, whatever it is. Right, that's a new building, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
yes.
But anybody who knows wrestling knows that building. That's where I fought Brett in WrestleMania 13. That building, because of the acoustics, that wood ceiling, the way the sound bounces off of it, the rowdy fans. Now, you talk about Madison Square Garden, you talk about a magic building. You talk about the Sportatorium back in the day in Dallas, Texas. Those are magical buildings. But for just pure rowdy fans, wrestling fans, Chicago.
It seems like it was cooler when you could smoke. Like when you I went to Jimmy Snuka Don Morocco Steel Cage, Sergeant Slaughter versus Ivan Putski. In Madison Square Garden. I was 12. One of my mom's friends took me, like somebody I didn't really know that well, but I was like a fanatic. My mom's like, I'm not going to Manhattan. It's crazy. People get stabbed in Manhattan. You take them. But like something about the fact that when you could be in Madison Square Garden and everyone's just smoking cigars and cigarettes, just that haze. When you see old boxing footage, you go, maybe we should be allowed to smoke at Laker games. It's pretty cool.
Well, that's why, kind of smoke.
Maddie's into that.
But that's why they smoke those buildings up now to, the atmosphere.
One of the coolest moments of my life when the big sea change also, whoever's brainchild this was when everyone has a sign. Some of the signs just say me with an arrow pointing to the guy. 316 was like, that was the sign explosion, 316 for you. and the NWO shit and all that. And I remember once we were at Madison Square Garden, Opie and Anthony, the whole crew went, and those are my guys, right? And we just had a good time. Like, nobody's like fucked up. Like, just a really steady, like, they got to work in the morning. And I look across, and it's on TV.
Yeah. And
I look across the ring, and someone's holding a sign that listens to Opie and Anthony. It says, Jay Mohr, Gotham Comedy Club, June 6th to 9th. I'm like, that is the craziest
score
shit ever. Like, that was the craziest thing I had ever seen in my life.
I saw a sign. It was a while back. I can't remember how long ago it was, but it was the worst sign I'd ever seen in the history of the business. And you see some great ones and you see some turds. This one was an Austin sign. It just said nothing but Austin. But they put the T in front of the S instead of the S in front of the T. It said Autzen. I was like, how can you misspell my last name? What kind of support system is that?
But you played a heel a lot. Can you ever go out and make fun of somebody's sign or take a sign? Are you guys giving ground rules like, don't go near these people?
No, man. Back in the day when you could jack with them a little bit, you tear their shit up. Grab a sign out of hand, rip it to shreds. You could do almost anything.
Stone Cold Steve Austin has a podcast. It's called The Steve Austin Show.
Steve Austin Show.
Super easy. And that's in the sports and entertainment department. You're not in the comedy department, so you got to go over to the sports and entertainment department. Is it called – it's sports and entertainment.
Yeah, sports and recreation department. Steve Austin Show, sports and recreation.
And you like doing this. I did. Talking to you is easy like Sunday morning. I could do it all the time. Well, and I can't wait to come on yours.
I want you to come on because basically we're just going to continue this.
But I want to go to Marina Del Rey. I don't want to go to fucking Hollywood.
No. Come to my house.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude,
nice.
we'll keep it low on the down low. But I was looking forward to talking to you, man. The thing about me doing my show, I'm a little bit green to this business. I think I got maybe 30 shows under my belt. What do you got now? About $170?
Yeah, right there, actually, exactly.
Yeah. So, I've been listening to a bunch of your shows, and you're badass. And I'm like, man, I got to meet this cat because I've been watching your stand-up for years.
Hook you
and you're
up.
funnier and shit.
Thank you, brother.
So
any tech stuff, Matty Boy's got your back. You guys will exchange numbers. And if anything tech-wise you need help with. Because you got the podcast one. I'm not going into their shit. I don't want them thinking I'm creeping into the I'm just saying, if you want to do shit from your house, Matty Boy can figure it out because I don't even know how to work any of this shit.
But I was looking forward to talking to you because, it's interesting. We get out and start talking to people. And, for by and large, most part, I'm just starting to make a few rounds on some different shows. But I figured, man, this guy knows sports. He's funny.
Well, you got to come back. You're 100% right away. I could tell. People can demand you come back.
I'm in.
All right. Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's got a podcast. Go there. I put my name on that shit. Brother. It's always nice when you meet a new old friend.
You damn right.
Much
I appreciate
love.
you having me.
Put your name on it. Who the Von Erichs?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like, wrestler number 2. Parts unknown. Whoa, parts unknown. All of a sudden, shit got...
Why are they sending his check?
Yeah. That's a good point. But Mark Henry's retirement, he did start crying. He sold it good. Now, do you think he was crying, or do you think diabetes was just making his eyes run?
I know nothing of the man's health. I think those are real. I've been called a lot of things. A doctor is not one of them.
That was said like you were on the steps of the Capitol in Houston running for office. I'll tell you, that was like that down folksy charm you had.
Oh, shit.
Used to work at a loading dock, Stone Cold Steve Austin. You put in the hard work. You did an honest work for an honest day's pay.
Hey, man, yeah, absolutely. I always tell everybody, I was, when I was born and
you were born
down in South Texas, I just grew up being able to lift really heavy shit. I'm good at manual labor. That's what I was born to do. And I got lucky, after I got tired of working on the docks. Well, I didn't get tired of it. I just had a commercial come on TV, and I'd always watched pro wrestling my entire life since I was about 7 or 8 years old. So when I saw that commercial, I said, well, hell, there's my end, that wrestling school right there. So, I started training while I was still loading, the trucks, driving a forklift, lifting the heavy stuff. 5 months worth of training went by. Then I had my first match, and, then I was still going. I was working at Watkins Motor Lines in Dallas, Texas. I was living 30 miles away in Denton. And I'd go to work every day. Fridays, I was a young baby face back in, long blonde hair, pretty good looking kid. And all the heels would come into the territory and beat the dog shit out of me with weightlifting belts and kendo sticks, to get some heat. And Saturday mornings was a TV taping. They do the same thing. They beat the shit out of Steve Austin. And then, after 2 months of that, I finally asked the promoter, Jerry Jarrett, I said, hey, man, when can I start working full time? He goes, hell, Steve, I think you're ready now. And that's when I hauled my dumb ass over to Tennessee and started working full time.
Denton, Texas, I believe, home of Texas Women's College, where my grandmother graduated.
You are correct. Also, North Texas State, but more importantly than that, home of the Von Erichs.
Yeah.
God,
all
man.
of them. The claw.
People do not understand, and you brought the Von Erichs a while ago where we were talking, but you got to understand, back in the day.
Hey guys, one of the reasons I do this free podcast is hoping you will come see me do live stand-up comedy. I got some dates for you. August 3rd, I'm at the Wiltern Theater in Los Angeles with the one and only Adam Carolla. Come see me August 3rd at the Wiltern Theater with Adam Carolla in Los Angeles. August 16th, I go all the way up to Wisconsin. I'm going to be with all my friends in Milwaukee. August 16th, come see me at the Pabst Theater in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. August 16th, Pabst Theater, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Very next night, August 17th, Detroit, Birmingham, Bloomfield. Where are you at? August 17th, I'm at the Royal Oak Theater in Detroit. August 17th, I'm at the Royal Oak Theater in Detroit. And then, my friends, oh yeah, September 19th, Stand Up Live in Phoenix, Arizona. Phoenix, Arizona, September 19th, I'm at Stand Up Live. Go to jmohr.com if you wish to buy tickets. Please come see me. All my shows are meet and greet. Buy a t-shirt. Shake my hand. Let's do it. Let's just have fun with our lives and have a little laughs. Hope to see you guys out there. I love you.
Put your name on it. Just put your name on it. That's all I say. Be a man or a woman. Put your name on it.
Well, I'd like to hear about it, potheads.
How the fuck you gonna know how to be great if you don't study greatness? Look at the game tape.
Donuts.
If you want a battle, it's either that you will or you won't.
You're not a bad-looking man, Mr. Gals.
But you are, Blanche. You are in that chair.
There's something wrong with us. Something very, very wrong with us.
How great would it be if I had a totally different voice? Like, we've been talking, an hour, 40 minutes, and I'm like, Stone Cold Steve Austin joining us on the program. I just break up my little Mean Gene Okerlund mustache. Radio show on J Mohr Sports on Fox Sports Radio. You go to jmohrsports.com. You can pick your affiliate wherever you live, listen to this podcast. We call the update anchor, Dan Beyer. I just started calling him the world's strongest man, and I got Intercontinental belt for the studio. Like, he's the Intercontinental champion. He's the world's strongest man. And one day, Mark Henry, just rolling around Texas, goes, who's this world's strongest man? I'm the world's strongest man. And he didn't know it's just like, it's my update guy. You know, he's like 5'11", like 240, just a regular dude. And so we put him on. And then I told the update anchor, I go, bro, this is a huge get because I'm a wrestling nut. So if we get this cat on the phone, you better run some shit at him.
Yeah.
And so Mark Henry goes, oh, who set the world record for squats, bench pressing in 1989? Hold on a minute now. And Dan Beyer goes, did you say 1989? He goes, yes, sir. And he goes, I guess we're all living in the past. I agree with you, Jay. You know what? I could go for something to eat. And so they just went at it. And then I texted Mark afterwards, like, that was great. Come on anytime. And then I called him. I wanted some swag for my son and my son's stepbrother. And they just sent like this giant ass package, and he's just good people. And then he texted me 2 weeks out, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he's like, "Man, I'm retiring, dog. You got to watch it, man. It's gonna be heartfelt. It's hard to put this, but before he even told me he was retiring, he would say like a month out, like, man, I'm just trying to rehab these knees, man. Just like I can't even walk. I'm tired of waking up tired. So he put the game on me.
Yeah.
Just in passing. I can't even imagine when he told Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, but you know what? He took you for a ride. You know, a little bit of hoodwink in there. Yeah, and you being a true fan. Hey, but let me ask you a question. You grew up in Jersey, correct? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you got to be hardcore. I still say WWF. We all know what it is. They call it E. But so you grew up hardcore WWF fan. Did you get into the NWA or the AWA at all?
I did, because I would always get Pro Wrestling Illustrated. There was one newsstand in Caldwell, New Jersey. I would ride my bike to go pick it up, and I'm like, who's this Boogie Woogie man?
Yeah.
And like, who's Barry Windham? Move, man! And you and your friends looking at Pro Wrestling Illustrated, like, I don't even know what it is. Like, no one knows. It's forbidden, bro. Like Greg the Hammer Valentine pile drove Jimmy Snook on the cement floor. But like with the WWE, it's like I would watch it a lot more if there was just more wrestling, because I do really like watching wrestling. But man, cats get in the ring. I was just watching with Mark Henry, buddy of mine, was doing his like retirement, and he came in. John Cena was in the ring for like 8 minutes, and I looked at Matty Boy, and I go, man, I know TV a little bit. I don't think you can get more than 14 minutes out of a segment. Like, this shit's gonna have to wrap up quick. And then just fucking pile drove Cena.
I know exactly what you're talking about, because I happened to be watching that episode, and I got all the stuff DVR'd, but I'm backed up on it. But that night it was funny, because I had just changed the channel, caught it. There was John Cena on the corner, window dressing. I mean, he was there for the taking. And so, man, I smelled a rat as soon as he started talking about it. I'm gonna retire, and But to Mark's credit, I mean, he really got some mileage out of that, because he pulled from real emotions. I think he really thought about, having to retire, and the way those people really fired in and were supporting him, and they appreciated all the hard work that guy's turned in. So he got a little emotional, which he baited everybody in further. But I smelled a rat. I'm the veteran. I knew something was on the up, and sure enough, wham! You don't have your number one guy in the company just sitting there lollygagging around because he wants a front row view of Mark Henry about to retire. I knew there was an angle going down.
But they don't tell you ahead of time that that's going down?
Well, man, I'm a civilian now, man. I mean, I'm technically still with the company, but, I'm at the house. I'm in Marina Del Rey watching. It's not like I get a call on the bat phone and say, Steve and Vince, we're going to do an angle tonight. Mark Henry's going to look like he's going to retire, but he's going to beat the shit out of John Cena. So, no, I'm not involved on that end, man. Those guys are laying down a show, and I'm just watching as a fan or a Mark at the house.
Mark texted me. Mark ran me.
Well, let me ask you a question. How are you and Mark tight? Where do you guys go back from?
On my So you have the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast on the Podcast One network. Is that correct?
Podcast1.com. The Steve Austin Show.
All right, Steve Austin Show. And I've been in there on Tom Green's show, and there's other people on that roster. I don't know if they're still there, so I don't want to say their names. But that's like a fancy setup, bro. There's like crazy ass. You don't strike me a guy from Victoria, Texas. That looks a little above your tech grade.
It is. It's way above my tech grade. But you gotta appreciate the fact that most of my guests are calling in from all over the United States. It's not like I got, you're pretty much set up, established here. You got cats dropping by all the time, and that's a luxury. So it is what it is. But there's nothing better than talking to a human being live and in living color.
Yeah. It's hard, though, with wrestlers, and I know just from, like, friends of mine that wrestle, the travel you guys do, even retired, it's the crazy. Vince just runs you guys until your fucking wheels fall off.
Man, but you got to. Once you get in the system, you can't get out of the system, because you can't take a break. The only way you want to come off the road, where you don't want to come off the road, is if you get hurt, because, all of a sudden you go say, hey, Vince, I'm getting tired. I need a month off. Man, somebody just took your spot. You just took yourself out of a key storyline. You just took money off the table. So you don't take off. You want to be on the road, and it becomes an addiction. You love living on the road.
It sounds like you're talking about a crack addiction. You can't get out until you get hurt, man.
But it's like anything. But
that's your bottom, man.
But it's just like getting on the road with the stand-up.
Yeah.
I mean, you love being in front of that crowd. You love making the money. You love turning those people on. It's the same damn thing. There's a very close parallel between these two businesses, and you got to stay in the picture.
And the WWE is weird to me in a way that it seemed like when I grew up at WWF, like Jimmy Snook and Don Morocco, like the battle for the Intercontinental belt was always way more interesting than the championship belt. There was fucking Bob Backlund doing squat thrust, trying to set like the world record in deep knee bend contest. The Guinness Book people are counting his squat thrusts. And meanwhile, you got like, is Don Morocco going to use the Asiatic spike? That's a forbidden.